It says we're live. Now gotta wait for give the feed a few moments to catch up. All right, and we are live with Discussions in Filmland episode 2, and I have two very awesome guests today to discuss a movie that is very special to each and every one of us, The Last Samurai from Tom Cruise. I have the DVD too, I just don't know where it is right now. And we have holding up the movie Gojira 851, and next to me over here, the Sci Fi Sentry. And
What's up?
What's up? How y'all doing?
how you guys doing?
I'm doing well.
Before we get started with the discussion and asking of you guys a few questions, Gojira 851 shared a video with me, and the song is perfect for this movie. It's a song by Sabaton about the samurai. Now, give me a moment. I'm still new at this. And here we go.
It's the nature of time that the old ways must give in. It's the nature of time that the new ways comes in sin. When the new is the old, it always ends the ancient ways. And as it's not told, the old ways go out in darkness. Encircled by a vulture, the end of ancient culture, the dawn of destiny draws near. Imperial force to fire, facing 500 samurai, surrounded and outnumbered, 60 to 1, the sword takes a gun. Bushido, dignified, it's the last stand of the samurai, surrounded and outnumbered. As a new age begins, the way of the warrior comes to an end. As a new age begins, the ways of old must apprehend. It's the nature of time that they always must give in. It's the nature of time that the new age comes in sin. An offer of surrender, Saigo ignore contender. The dawn of destiny is here. Imperial force to fire, facing 500 samurai. Surrounded and outnumbered, 60 to 1, the sword takes a gun. Bushido, dignified, it's the last stand of the samurai. Surrounded and outnumbered. Till the dawn they hold on, only 40 are left at the end. Not alive, not survive, Gojira. Imperial force divine, facing 500 samurai. Surrounded and outnumbered, 60 to 1, the sword takes a gun. Bushido, dignified, it's the last stand of the samurai. Surrounded and outnumbered, 60 to 1, facing the gun. 60 to 1, cut your own gun.
Encore.
Now,
I'm just-
was that not perfect? Thank you for bringing this to my attention, because this was absolutely perfect for the movie.
Rock on.
Indeed.
But now,
Yeah.
as we historically like to start these things on the Sci-Fi Society, what are your first experiences with this movie? We'll start with Sci-Fi.
I actually, if I can remember, I saw this film when I was living in Dallas back in 2020. It was either 2023 or yeah, it was probably 2023, and that's when it was released. So, yeah, I saw it at my sister's house, and yeah, I was like, once I saw it, I was like, wow, like just it it I gravitated to it. You know, I mean, I was very young at that time. I was 23 when I saw it, and I was still wet behind the ears. You know, thinking I'm invincible and not taking shit from people. And I was like, yeah, the samurai. You know, but now as I'm older now, it's like I have such a deeper connection to the way of the samurai, Bushido, their culture, the Japanese culture, and yeah, that had to be that I can remember. I saw it back in 2023 when I was 23 years old. No, sorry, I was back in 2003. I gotta get the words right. I saw it back in 2003, and yeah, that's when I can recall when I saw it.
Good. Gojira 851, when was your first experience with this movie?
My first experience was when I picked it up on home video. A very good friend. We called him Little Matt. Because I was known as Big Matt. He was called Little Matt. He was about ready to go away and move to Las Vegas at the time, and he told me about this film called The Last Samurai. And he knew that I loved swords at the time, and I didn't really know much about the Japanese sword at the time. I was more into the European swords, and like cutlasses and broadswords, stuff like that, and Conan the Barbarian, stuff like that. So I didn't really know much about the Japanese sword. So he put it on. And we started watching it, and I was just completely, mesmerized from what I saw. The storytelling, the acting, it's like an entire. Also, I'm a big Tom Cruise fan. I enjoy his work. From the first time I saw him in Legend, we covered that, several months ago, maybe even like a year ago. We covered that. We talked about that. That was my first experience with Tom Cruise, and other films as well. But also, I love, warrior films and warrior epics. And this was a warrior epic, and it's a bit romanticized. I'll give you that, but I don't care. I love epics like this. And just watching, and I was actually introduced to an entire new plethora of new actors from this that actually are still thriving to this day, in Hollywood today, and also, in streaming in different ways. But we'll get to that in the future in this video. Yeah, that's one of them right there. And Watanabe, I love him. Did outstanding. This is my first experience with him in this film. Others know him from Godzilla 2014, but we'll get to that in the future. But that's okay. But just excellent film. Absolutely love it. This is one of my top 4 films that I love watching, and I will actually put on at any time. This, Godzilla -1, Terminator 2, and Jaws. But absolutely love it. Absolutely, will recommend this to anyone and everyone speaking about it.
Uh-huh.
I got both of you guys beat. I've seen this in the theater.
Oh, tell us about it. Come on now.
Whoopie fucking do.
Remember when the first Matrix sequel came out?
Yeah.
Well, my theater, before the movie, they showed the preview for Federation, Freddy versus Jason.
Yeah.
I almost said Federation versus Xeon.
The Federation. Oh, I wish there was a movie about that.
And it also showed the teaser trailer for this movie, and this was when the anime Rurouni Kenshin was real big on Toonami.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm like, oh, this looks like it's set during that time period, and it just really intrigued me.
Mm-hmm.
And that trailer stuck with me, and it kept building anticipation. And it came out December 1st. I didn't see it opening day, but I saw it opening weekend, and I had walked to the movie theater in the snow to see this.
10
Between
miles?
no,
No, okay.
about 2 or 3 miles.
No, that's still pretty amazing though.
But I had, between the time it took me to go to the movie theater to get some boots for the snow and then wait for the theater to open and purchase my tickets, it took about 2.5 hours. And it was absolutely worth it. Kevin Lambert in the group chat shared seeing this in the theater was an absolutely magical experience, and that's the best word I could describe. I was just
Yep.
transfixed from the beginning, and something about this movie on so many levels resonated with me, especially the samurai, because the one character Nathan Algren meets, he talks about the Japanese culture, and he's like how nobody ever says what they really feel.
Mm-hmm.
And I just got this sense of people just putting on a charade, and then we got introduced to the samurai, and they were people that said what they feel, stood up for what they believed in, and it just resonated with me because like even at that time in high school I was looking and I'm like, man, so many people here are completely fake. They're not acting like who they really are, and I was just along for the ride. The acting, the performances, the epic battle scenes, even the music that to this day is some of the most beautiful music I have ever heard in any movie. There are points with this soundtrack where when you put it over the scene, it sounds like the music itself is weeping.
Mm-hmm. Oh yes.
Yep. Yep.
And it just like stuck with me after I seen it. This is one of my favorite films of all time. And with this recent watch, if I'm being honest, it may have leapfrogged The Shawshank Redemption for number one.
Oh wow.
Very nice.
What's up, Kevin? Sorry to say that. What's up, Kev? What's up, Kaiju goodness? Pimp Daddy Kaiju goodness. So yeah.
Hey,
But no,
Kevin.
yeah, I agree. Just before, I'll just say this: like, I agree with you. It's in my at least top 25 or top 30. It's like because I got so many movies, but yeah, I resonated I resonate with it also, like very very much so. And as you get older, like you saw it when we were young. You know, I saw it when I was really young. So, but now I look on it. It's like that's how I would like to just be at peace, be at peace with myself, be at peace, just peace altogether,
It,
and
when you're younger, it's like you tend to gravitate and relate more towards the character of Nathan Algren. But when you get older, you find yourself relating to Katsumoto a little more.
Mm-hmm.
yeah, yeah, exactly. Like Katsumoto, man, like I saw it, I was like, man, I wish like I thought to myself, man, like no, what what would be crazy to go back in that time period in that era in the 1700s and just see what it would be like to how to live back then without technology, without phones, without that, just go out into the wilderness in Japan right there when they pass by a scene of Mount Fuji and just live in that, having those well built houses and having a sanctuary there, having the monastery there, and just being one with with your surroundings, man, and no loud music, no garbage, no freaking loud ass people, just peace
Mm-hmm.
and just peace and zen,
Exactly, like the movie. In first of all, Kevin Lambert, not the biggest fan of Tom Cruise, but his interview with the vampire, Top Gun Maverick, are this interview with the vampire, Top Gun Maverick, are my favorite of his movies. Good
oh,
choices.
oh yeah. Oh yeah, I'm not a big fan either of Tom Cruise, but I mean I like his work, but I'm as a person, I mean what he follows, it's not. I don't hate the guy. It's just but as far as his acting and the characters he portrays, can't, top notch.
I'm
Indeed.
gonna go on, Matt.
No, I agree with that.
Yeah.
Going through the plot a little, because there are a few like key moments I want to talk about. We start off with a dream by Ken Watanabe's character Katsumoto, and we're instantly introduced to just an amazing actor. I remember when Godzilla 2014 was announced and I saw he was in it. That was one of the things I was most excited about, and it was because of this movie.
Yeah,
And
that's the
then,
first time I've seen him.
and then we get introduced to Tom Cruise's character, who's got a job basically selling Winchester firearms on stage, and he's drinking, he gets fired, and you could tell this is a man off the bat with a really troubled past. He does the show and then meets up with someone he served with. He was a captain in the 7th Cavalry, and he gets given a job opportunity to go to Japan and train the Imperial Army, which he takes up because he's getting paid $500 a month. We also meet his immediate commanding officer, who this is a man he clearly doesn't like. And as you see in a flashback, that officer ordered them to fire on a camp that just had women and children in it. And that's what's been haunting him his whole life.
Yeah, can I add on that real quick, Anthony?
Go right ahead.
Um, I know. Okay, I just wanted to say this. I know you mentioned you wanted us to come up with. I don't know if you still want us. You wanted us to come up with three parts, three moments.
I wanted you to each pick a. I'm going to do that at the end. I wanted each of you to pick one inspirational moment.
Oh, okay. Well, like I said, I'll just add to this. Like when you said about Algren and his commanding officer, I think it was Bagley or
Colonel
yeah,
Colonel Bagley.
Bagley. Yeah.
Yep.
Like you can already see the guy's like he looks like I mean, he acts like he's trying to be civil and all that stuff. But you could tell that dude's just a freaking. He ain't no different than any other guy that's just grimy and fucking and just one of those guys that you just don't I instantly got like just like that bad vibe from this guy.
Mhm.
And the part when they're getting introduced and he's saying, "Oh, hey, what's up? Hey, how you doing?" And I'll just say this. Well, get to that part. Get to where you got to talk about when he shows up, Anthony. Then I'll add on to that. So I don't want to take it.
We all get introduced to another character, Mr. Himura, who's here to hire the experts. And this is another character that right off the bat, you get the feeling this guy is a complete snake.
Mm-hmm.
But the
Yep.
actor, I can't think of the actor's name, and I don't want to butcher it, but I can't give him enough credit because with very few lines of dialogues, just physical mannerisms, he just completely sells you. You can't trust this guy.
Wait, I got it right here. Masato Harada.
Masato Harada. Well, that's not too hard to pronounce.
Yeah.
And Masato Harada. Yeah. Yeah.
Masato Harada.
Then we
Masato Harada.
we get a scene of Tom Cruise on the boat, like not with Nathan Algren on the boat. He's writing in his journal, and you just see a lot of just depression and regret. And he's like, to paraphrase, well, I've been hired to take out another native force, and it's like, I guess this is the only task to which I'm suited in life. And he's just doing this because he knows he's going to get paid enough money to drink himself to death.
Mm-hmm.
This is a man that just, he actively wants to die, and he doesn't care how or when, as long as it happens.
Like I can say that he has a death wish. Like he just has a death wish. Like he's seen so much and done so much like that haunts him every single night, that the only way he can really sleep is if he drinks himself silly. Like like until he's totally passed out. Like it's the only way he can sleep. And I'm gonna say before that's something you just missed when before you got on the boat. I loved how I saw that animosity and that hate and that
Intent.
anger in his mind when he saw his former commanding officer, and he says, "You want me to kill Japos? I'll kill Japos. You want me to fight? I'll fight. You want me to kill the enemies of Japos? I'll kill anybody. I'll kill anybody you pay me to. For $500 a month. I'll $500 a month. I'll pay you whatever you want." But what I loved is that he says, "But I will gladly, happily kill you for free."
Hmm.
And he says that to Bagley, and that's why I was like, that part got me like right when I saw it. I was like, okay, let's keep going, let's keep going. But
And
yeah, but continue.
so, Kevin, if you weren't at work, I would love to add you to this one.
Right? Yep.
But I'll let Matt carry it on and talk about the scene where we're introduced to the Emperor.
So Captain Algren actually gets off gets off the ship. They have a large voyage from across the sea to go to Japan, which is another thing about the cinematography that Kevin actually brought up. And it's like some of the scenes in this film actually feel like almost like a painting. The way how almost like not really a tapestry, but it almost feels like a massive painting you're almost going into. There's actually the way how the scenery is done, and it's breathtaking the way how it's done because it looks realistic, but also not realistic. There's a way how it's awesome the way how it's done. So we actually meet up with another interesting character in this film, Mr. Graham. Was actually an interpreter at this time, and actually is teaching Nathan Algren the ways of being over in Japan. He's teaching with etiquette. Hey, when you meet this person, you bow. If they bow, you bow lower. So now they go to meet the emperor, which you think in other forms of cultures, you hear like, oh, we have the emperor. He's going to be this massive person, this impressive person. No, it's just, Emperor Meiji at the time, the Meiji Restoration, is actually just a normal young man like he is here. And actually it's very accurate to the way how he was in historical documentation and the way they actually had him portrayed here in the film. And they had him actually, when Nathan actually, he would bow and he would actually look at him. They would say, "Oh, you're not supposed to look at him." Well, Nathan actually did look at him in the film, but it actually shows the amount of culture, the way how the different cultures they have differing from this. But nothing really happened here though. So because they let it go at this time, and then the emperor said, "Well, thank you very much to them for coming over to help with this." Then we learned that it's not just the United States coming over to help out. We have architects. I'm sorry.
All right, Kevin said speaking of work, he has to head back. I just want to wish Kevin well. All right, thanks for stopping by.
Yeah,
Peace out, Kevin. Peace out, Kevin. Much love, man. And what's up, Jedi Granville, my brother? How's it going?
All right, continue, Matt.
Okay, so we learned that it's not only the U.S. that is actually working with Japan right now. We actually learned that there's architects from, I believe, France. We have engineers from Germany coming over, and they're modernizing the Japanese because for the longest time, Japan had actually cut themselves off from the rest of the world. They're isolated.
Beginning of the Tokugawa regime.
Yes, they were very isolated. They wanted, they were self-sufficient, but they wanted to, join the modern world. That's what this Meiji Restoration was. So, but we learned that, one of the men of this, one of the main characters of this story, in fact, I consider him one of the protagonists of this story. Others would say he's the antagonist. No, he's one of the protagonists of the story. Katsumoto. Played by Ken Watanabe. This is my first introduction to the man, Ken Watanabe. Excellent character in this film. Portraying the character, the man, Saigo Takamori from The Real Samurai. I mean, please, I hope I didn't butcher that name. But anyway, that's who he really was in real life, and it was the real rebellion of it because during the Restoration they wanted to modernize, but the samurai wanted to hold on to their power. In this film, it's done a little differently than it was in the original ways, but you feel for the samurai in this because Mr. Omura in this, he's changing the country so fast, and he's just pushing all the samurai out in like an unfair way, and and making them change all of their lives in an unfair manner. And Katsumoto is one of the best samurai in this. He's a very noble man. He serves his country very well. He's a very upstanding man. He gives gold to the masses. He's actually the teacher of the emperor as well. He actually would teach him ways, and try to teach him the way of being, a samurai as well. But Mr. Omura is actually, like the snake, as you guys were saying earlier in the film, earlier in the review, is that he's actually trying to, manipulate him to do other things, including this railroad, which, he really wants done, which leads us to the next scene where we actually start to learn of our troops and the overconfidence of Mr. Omura and what he wants to. I'm sorry, go ahead.
Let's keep in mind, too, the scene where we introduce the Emperor, how it's framed. He's in this kind of box-like thing, and he's in shadows. And, you're shocked to see how just young he looks.
Yes.
And secondly, this scene portrays him as being very weak and frail, which in a lot of ways he is, because he's being manipulated by Himura.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Like he's literally a kid. He's literally a kid, and he does not know anything about war, doesn't know anything about how the economy works, or economics, or how to get something going. I mean, if they're trying to modernize Japan and open it up to the world, and I mean, you can tell they're still very wary. I mean, this guy, whatever, Omura, whatever, he's literally embracing westernization. But I can just see, like, the emperor, as young as he is, and how green he is with everything. Like, he's so, like, used to his own traditions of how they live, that westernization is alien to them.
And we should also give some you guys watching that aren't familiar with the history some context. During the Tokugawa regime, the emperor, in a weird way, that's one way Japan was ahead of other countries. The Tokugawa shogunate actually ruled over Japan. The emperor was more of a figurehead, and the Meiji revolution, it put the emperor back politically in charge of Japan.
Right.
So you can kind of compare what the situation was to, like, in the UK, where you have the king or the queen, and then you have the prime minister, who's the one actually running the country, and that's what it was before the Meiji Restoration. So this is a guy who was unprepared to step up and rule a country because it wasn't something that anyone saw actually happening.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Go ahead. Continue, Matt.
Okay. So Captain Algren now goes out and he meets his troops, which are all farmers and peasants. They're just handed rifles now. And this brings me to another film that I really, really like, and I actually would like to discuss you guys again in a future. Glory.
Yeah.
Where they were just handed rifles, and they were, it's like, oh, they're going to be great, but no, they had to learn how to be. But unfortunately, this movie actually takes it a step back further. They're handed rifles, and it's thought of like, oh, okay, you have superior firepower. You're just going to defeat the samurai now because they don't have a single rifle. They're just savages with bows and arrows. You're going to overpower them in moments. And then Captain Algren says to Colonel Bagley, it's like, their sole purpose for the past 1,000 years is war. Okay. And he's like, I am ordering the regiment to go out and hunt down the traitor Katsumoto and bring him to justice. So there's actually a scene in this that actually mirrors Glory, where Nathan Algren actually tells one of the the farmers to actually load his gun. He slowly loads his gun. He's telling he tells the interpreter, crap, why is my brain blanking all of a sudden? But he tells him, he says, tell this man to load and kill me. If he doesn't, I will kill him. So he pulls out his revolver and starts firing on him. He doesn't intend on killing him, but he intends on scaring him. The point of this exercise is to show that when you're scared in the battlefield, if you're not hardened, if you're not ready, you're going to fold and everything's going to go to shit. And that's exactly what happens. He starts firing at him and he just completely shits the bed and misses when he goes to fire at him, proving his point. But Colonel Bagley's like, the regiment leaves at 6 a.m. because Omura wants his railroad. So then we move on to the next scene. I'm sorry.
Can I just add something to that, Gojira?
Yes, please.
Like what people don't understand is back in the 1700s, especially during that Meiji Restoration, guns, muskets, like they think they can just, oh yeah, I'm gonna reload it real quick. No, you see it just like Glory. You see how you have to put the gunpowder, you have to stuff it in there with the musket, you have to put the thing in there, you gotta use that long tool to stuff it all the way down there with the freaking gunpowder, and then you still have to aim it, which is because those don't look like they're very, very heavy, but I bet you they're not light either, and then still have to shoot. So it's like, and then these people are just barely like learning how to even load it, stuff it, put the gunpowder, put the musket in there.
Loading a modern magazine can be difficult under duress.
And the whole thing is like that, the whole fear thing. Like he wasn't like, just like Gojira said, he's not going to kill him, but you're trying to see, look, this is under pressure. This is if you're not experienced, if you don't know what it's like to do this, if you can't do it under pressure, what makes you think you're going to do it out there in the field?
Exactly.
Just like like Gojira said, it's a great scene, and then once Tom Cruise goes back and tells them they're not ready, and he even goes to the guy that shot at him. He pats him on the shoulder, says, it's not your fault. I'm just testing you.
Yeah.
But Omura, who has no idea about how war or even combat, no idea what combat or war are all about. So he's like, no, we have enough people, we'll go in there and take it. They got bayonets. Oh yeah, bayonet, really, people don't understand that. A bayonet, maybe sharp, and it will stab you and can probably kill you, but a lot of those actually break sometimes in combat.
And
so
you have the bayonet on the end of your rifle, it's going to affect your aim.
Yep, exactly. Yep. Okay, cool. Sorry about that, Gojira. Continue.
No, you're fine. So we cut to the next scene. Also, something I really like about this film, and it brings me to another film I really like, Bram Stoker's Dracula, is that Nathan Algren, Tom Cruise, narrates this entire film. So I love his narrations in this film, because we see what's inside his mind, and we actually see a change throughout the film with him. I'm not going to say what that is, but the first couple of narrations, he's very dark. He's very depressed. There's no hope in him. But so the transition is this massive fire as we see the regiment actually moving out, heading towards where Katsumoto was last seen, and we see the railroad is actually on fire. And then they're trying to see where this is, and there's this other character. I'm going to call him Birthmark Face. I can't think of his name right now, but Birthmark Face. He's the guy who's constantly watching. He's always reporting back to Omura and always telling him, like what is what the regiment's behaving. This isn't really like even a Japanese army. This is actually more like a group of mercenaries, and it just works for Omura at this point. It doesn't even really work for the Emperor because he's not really even ordering them at this point. Even Colonel Bagley, he has no authority, because all they're doing is what Omura tells them to do. So eventually we meet the forest, where we have our first battle. Now, let's go all the way back, because I done goofed and I didn't talk about this. Atsumoto opens the film for us as we're hearing the excellent music from Hans Zimmer, and he's meditating. I'm not gonna lie, I can't meditate to save my life. I always doze off. I'm a terrible. I'm terrible. Where he's actually meditating, and he actually has a premonition of a white tiger fighting samurai. What does this mean? What could this possibly mean? And he actually wakes up and he's like actually shocked from this revelation. Cut to this first battle, where the regiment actually, has gotten word that Katsumoto is coming and his samurai are coming. You can see the fear in their eyes. But, Zeb, he has his Winchester, and, Algren's like, hey, fall back. That's a direct order. Begging your pardon, sir, but showed up your ass. And Algren's like, oh, geez. And Algren pulls out his Schofield, which actually I was actually amazed. They actually gave him a Schofield, because earlier in the film, he had like a cap and ball revolver, which I can't remember exactly what kind. I don't know if it was like a Navy he had earlier, but he had a Schofield in this scene. So he's waiting, and all of a sudden you hear this loud roar. The samurai are ready to fight these guys. And you just see all of the, the regiment. They're just like ready to piss themselves. And
even
then
the officers run away.
Yeah.
And then it's also there's a general who was former samurai, and he's not taking command because he doesn't want to fight Katsumoto.
Right. Oh, General Hasegawa.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, Hasegawa, yeah.
Yeah, General Hasegawa, he refuses to fight Katsumoto because he is samurai. Yes. Sorry. Yes, you're absolutely right. Yes. General Hasegawa, he doesn't want to participate. So all they hear is the hooves of the horses, and they start shaking even more as you see the samurai, come out of the fog, and they just look like demons. They have very ornate horned helmets, their armor and everything. Someone fires without a warning, without the word, which again shows you they're not ready. One of them's nervous. Okay, they're not battle hardened, not yet. They didn't have it beaten into them yet to be battle hardened. All of a sudden, everyone else starts firing. Nobody's aiming. Everybody else is just firing. As Algren's yelling to them, "Stop firing!" And the other guys are like, "Stop firing!" They're yelling in Japanese, "Stop firing!" Everybody wastes their ammo. Next thing you know, a louder roar. The charge of the samurai are coming, and they're like trying to reload. No, they're fucked. They're absolutely fucked. Here comes samurai, mow them all down. As Nathan Algren, he fires all of his rounds, pulls out his cutlass and tries. No, he's done. Zeb, he gets speared right through the belly and then is killed by an armored samurai in red.
Yeah.
And then Nathan actually finds a spear with a very. I'm sorry.
I'm saying who that red samurai retroactively becomes very important.
Yes. As Nathan picks up a spear with a very special flag on it, we'll get to that, and actually begins defending himself against some other samurai. They're important, but they're unnamed right now. And he fights them off as Katsumoto enters the battlefield. He's wearing like the best armor. He's wearing like Shogun armor. It's got the full coat and everything, and it's like the best armor that he could have. And he sees Algren fighting, and he sees the flag that he has. It's a white tiger against a blue sky, pretty much. He's like his premonition. And he hears the tiger roaring as Algren is fighting off these samurai. Algren is too tired as Hirotoro. Oh God, my pronunciation. Anyway, the red samurai comes over and he kicks him over. He says he wants to kill him, but actually, Algren kills him.
Yeah.
Now Katsumoto says, "Stop! Don't kill this man." Well, he just says stop. He doesn't want him killed and says take him away. As the scene ends, as Algren is actually loaded up on a horse, is being taken away. General Hasegawa actually, wants to commit the act of a seppuku. Now, seppuku is very,
ritualized.
Yes, very ritualized. Where it's the last way of claiming their honor in death, pretty much, where they will actually, spill their belly, and then their second will actually then cut their head off, pretty much. And that's like the most easy way to explain it. There's a lot more to it, but yeah, that's the easiest way to. If anybody has a different way to explain it, but that's pretty much the quickest way to get through it.
Good basic, and since you bring it up, it should also be noted the word harakiri actually means belly cutting, not the other thing. Seppuku means the other thing.
Yes. And the thing is, I've heard that people actually frown upon the word harakiri as well. But, that's a discussion for another time. So, you guys want me to keep going, or we want to hand it off?
I'll hand it off to, I will stop you at viewpoints, but I'll hand it off to Sci-Fi when he gets taken to the village.
Okay, yeah. Yes. Here's the part. Here's the part where it starts getting where he finally realizes he almost gets killed by Yujiro, who is Kasumoto's right hand man, who's his best warrior, his master swordsman, and he's showing like Ogren is he's literally like doesn't care, like he's at this point now like just fucking kill me, like why you even? It's like he looks at him and he says, why am I even alive? It's like what are you doing? That's just the look that he's giving to Yujiro, who has the sword to his neck and actually cuts him on the neck, and then that's when Katsumoto says, Yamaro, Yamaro means stop. And then they take.
It's very subtle, but you can tell like Yujiro, he does have like a little bit of like almost surprise that someone who isn't a samurai would just be that unflinching in the face of death.
Yeah. Oh yeah, I mean he does, but you can also see he has a hatred for the enemy. Like he has a sword
come into play soon.
Yeah, he has that hatred, and like I said, well, so we go. They send him to the house of the widow who the widow of the samurai he killed with the red armor, and they're stitching him up. Getting him, trying to get back to health, and then he starts having they give I think it's Katsumoto's son, give him some sake because of the pain, right? And he wants when they see try to give him sake, he says, "Fuck, don't give me that freaking glass, give me the whole bottle." He gets the whole bottle and he's just chugging the sake, and he's like, whatever. And she fixes him up, but then that's when he starts having, they starts having, the son wants to say, keep giving him sake. He's like, no. And then Taka, the sister and the widow of the samurai that was killed, says, "This is my home. This is my house. I won't allow it. It's not going to fly with me." So this is
your village, but it's my home.
Yeah, exactly. So now he starts having withdrawals.
Before you go on, can I just comment on how great of a job this actress did? She does so much with just expressions in speaking very few lines.
Oh yeah, exactly. And she's not only that, she's an actress, a model. She's an actress and a model, and I think a singer, I think too. But her eyes, her expressions speak volumes. Like, in every single scene she's in, and even the way she talks, like it's great. But like I said, but yeah, you're right. But not like I said, going back to now, I mean, who knows how many years Captain Algren's been fucking drinking, man, and he doesn't have sake anymore. And one thing I got to tell you, sake is not like Western whiskey. Sake is not. It's not as strong. You have to consume more sake than whiskey, but it's
really more in line with a wine.
Yeah. So just to get straight to the point, he starts having bad withdrawals. And he has bad withdrawals, and who knows? They didn't even say how many days he went without it, how many days he went without drinking. But he was getting the chills, he was getting shaky, he was getting the shakes, he was he just withdrawing, and he was screaming and he was yelling. He says, "I'm gonna fucking kill you!" Well, he wasn't cussing, but he said, "I'm gonna kill you." and she can hear it, like it's in her house, and he's screaming and screaming and nightmares, and she's like, "What the hell is?" She's probably thinking in her mind, "What the hell has this guy been through?" And it's like, and it says it in his expressions and how he's yelling and how he's going through pain because withdrawals are not the withdrawals are painful, any kind of withdrawal. And once he's finally had the withdrawals and he's sober, he wakes up and he's like shit, like, and then he finally gets up, and that's when the what do you call it, the speechless samurai, that's what they call him in the movie, the speechless samurai.
Oh,
He had,
Bob.
yeah, Bob is kind of like a chauffeur.
Sci-fi.
Uh,
I looked it up. It takes from 5 to 7 days for the alcohol detox.
there you go, 5 to 7 days. So it was probably around that time. It was probably around that time, maybe 5 to 7 days. We'll go with the 5 days. So it goes 5 days. So um 5 days, and there you go. He comes up. He's finally like, wow, I feel better. I feel much better. And he has no source of alcohol. No way to get it. So now he's like, okay. So now he looks at things differently, but he also has, like, the chauffeur slash the watchdog, Bob.
I
The,
love Bob, by the way.
Yeah.
yeah, Bob. Yeah. And yeah, then he just, he's wandering around, and he's trying to find out where he is. He's even wondering, like, why the hell are they even giving me, like, the ability to walk? Or wouldn't they put him, like, wouldn't they have him tied down or bound, or something? But that's when they send them to Kasumoto, and that's where they have the first interaction. And before that, they're Katsumoto, his son, and Yujiro are all debating on what to do. And Yujiro says, man, that dude should kill himself. He's already defeated." And he's like, "That's
That's
not
just
their
not their
custom."
way.
Yeah, it's not their way. But then you just, okay, fine, then I'll kill him. And that's when Katsumoto says, I need to learn about. I want to learn more about our enemy. So that's why they continue to leave him alive and try to learn about him, try to learn what makes him tick. So, like, trying to communicate. And that's when him and Katsumoto have that first interaction at the monastery, which looks pretty damn good. If it was a real monastery, cool. If it was built in a short time, still looks good. And there's Buddhists there. There's actual Buddhists there. So there's monks, and that's what I like about the aesthetic of the film. Is amazing. The cinematography, the special effects, the practical effects, everything's top notch. But that's when they finally have their first conversation. But what they do not know, what Captain Ogren does not know, is that he has his old journals from when he was at war with the Red Man, with the Native Americans.
Mm-hmm.
And he learns, and Katsumoto learns from that. And Katsumoto's been very well. He's learned a lot. If he's able to read, and if he's able to speak English and then read in English, that's how you know that's a dangerous adversary. Someone who's already knows how to, who can adapt that quickly. And that's where they have the first conversation. It's very brief, but but Katsumoto is very kind of like, for being such a fierce warrior, he's also diplomatic and calm and calculating. Like, he tests, like, you could tell he could pick apart an enemy, and he does it with calm and tact, and that's very hard to do. Like, to be calm is the hardest thing to do in anything. And that's what he does, and it's very brief. So he's not only doing that to learn about the enemy, but he's trying to see what makes Captain Ogren tick. So that's what I really liked about that part. And then now I think after that, what happens after that? I'll give it back to Anthony.
He get
Yeah,
the, well,
I'll give it to Anthony.
well, the next major scene, he sees the widow and the son of the samurai in red he killed
Yeah,
training, and Kamakatsumoto's son's like, they may be kids, but they're strong. And he picks up the sword and he's testing these kids. And Yu-Gi-Oh sees him and he takes a just great offense to this. He wants him to put the sword down, but Tom Cruise doesn't back down. He raises it and he just proceeds to get beaten to within an inch of his life. Like, it's not like when you see other scenes with them sparring where they're hitting, but they're not hitting hard. He's hitting him with blows that, had it been the katana, would have cut right through him. And Nathan Algren keeps getting up, which just gets him angrier and angrier, and he keeps hitting him harder and harder. But in this process, he earns a little bit of Yu-Gi-Oh's respect because he ultimately takes the sword away and tosses it to Katsumoto's son because he's like, nothing I can do short of killing you is going to stop you. And you've at least earned enough of my respect. I'm not going to do that now. So I'm taking this away from you so I can't kill you. And it's just such a beautifully shot scene with the rain and the music playing. And you even see the other like samurai watching. Even though they still look at this man as an enemy, they're starting to get a little uncomfortable with it.
Yeah. No, I agree. Like that fight scene was, I mean, shit, dude. And it looked like when he hit him in the head, when he hit him over the face, dude, with that, like, I was like, oh, that looked like it was so freaking real, dude. That was that looked so real. I was like, ouch. Like, holy shit, dude. I was like, fuck, like, and that was a great scene, man. And I gotta say, Hiroyuki Sanada, man, that dude, like, I'm not surprised he gets so much work now, man. Like he's gotten so much work, and you know this also put him on the map. This movie also put him on the map.
The just aura he carries in this movie is just intimidating. Like, this is the last guy you want to mess with.
Yep.
And he's clearly the sword master of the village because he's the one you see training all the other samurai.
Yeah.
We also get introduced to more. After that fight, we have another conversation between Tom Cruise and Nathan Algren and Katsumoto. And what I like is their first scene, there is more of an edge of hostility in Katsumoto's voice, where now he's a little, the conversation is more civil. Both ways to a degree. The samurai in red, and he almost, like, you can tell when he's like, I killed her husband, you can hear that tinge of guilt in his voice, and he still doesn't understand the culture. And Katsumoto, it was a good death.
Yeah. Like let me just add to that, Anthony. Like the face that Algren made when he said that was her husband, and he's just like, yep. He's like, yep, it was a good death. And it's like, and that's where Algren starts to understand, like, that's their way now. Like, they'd rather die or kill themselves than dishonor themselves or their who they serve.
Exactly. And this whole segment of the film, it's just more him just learning and just getting to know the samurai and just him gradually overcoming his demons. And it's just filled with just this absolute gorgeous cinematography. We do get dialogue that's fairly subtle, and just some of the relationships formed, like, even though we never see him and Bob speak back and forth, when he does speak in Japanese, you still care about this character a lot. Like that initial conversation. You mind if I call you Bob? You a ladies' man, Bob? But I know why you're angry. They make you wear a dress that he's like, I knew a Bob once. He was ugly as a mule.
Yep.
Again, this actor, another one I have to heap a lot of praise on. Without really speaking any lines, he's a character that you just come to care about.
Yep. No, yeah. I mean, it's funny, man. Like and then the fact that I didn't get a chance to do it when I was in Japan, but when the parts where he's finally like able to, because I remember when in one scene where uh he's at the table eating, and you know Taka, um the what do you call it, the widow tells tells her nephew, like, man, at least get him to take a freaking bath. He smells like the pigs.
Yeah.
And then we see him finally. He gets, like, when he's narrating and talking about how these people, like, are, he was so flabbergasted by how they are, like, and he's fought, like, like people like Native Americans and stuff like that. A lot of people get a misconception that Native Americans were savages. Okay, I think anybody can be savage when your land is getting taken from you. I think anybody can get like that, especially with Native Americans, because Native Americans are also brave and they also go to the death. So, but they're more like, how you say it, more vocal, more, like wild, and as far as their fighting styles. But like with the Japanese, Ogren, like he's narrating that, yeah, these people, like, are, they take pride in everything they do. The person making the sword or holding the sword, or the person making tea, or the person that
They're an intriguing people. From the moment they awake, they dedicate themselves to the perfection of whatever it is they do.
yeah, exactly. And like I said, when I saw him in the hot spring, I was like, oh, you motherfucker.
Yeah.
Because I never got the chance to go to a hot spring, but I was like, oh my god, when I was in Japan, when I was in Tokyo. But I mean, that's the only part that I was a little, it stung a little bit. But besides that, okay, continue, Anthony.
Yeah, but since you mentioned that, we do have the scene, and we get a very like pivotal scene where he starts speaking Japanese, and like Katsumoto's son, they're overjoyed. Then he's asking, "What's this?" Then he repeats it back, and the kid like pulls on his ear, and he says the Japanese word, and it's a nice moment. And I also love, again, this actress, just her expressions throughout the film. Like, you can tell she's still conflicted. She's softening up towards him, but she still feels that sting because he killed her husband.
Yeah.
Her name is Koyuki. Koyuki. Koyuki.
And also, I'm going to say this too. Still one of the
I'll be right
most.
back, guys. Keep talking.
She's
Okay.
still one of the most beautiful actresses I've ever seen in a movie.
Yes.
But it's a nice little scene, and you'd see him like he's really starting to acclimate, and there's even a line when he talks about in his journal that he's finally experienced his first untroubled sleep in many years, how he's not a religious man, and what he's seen on the battlefield has left him to question faith at all, which it's something a lot of soldiers have gone through. So it's just got this very beautiful, deep, poignant writing to it. Granted, again, yeah, well, like we admitted, the samurai depiction is romanticized, but it's still well done, and it's not the only historical movie or should I say, work of historical fiction to romanticize something.
Right.
So it's something I feel it doesn't deserve as much criticism for it as it gets, especially when the same people that criticize this for that will put a movie like Dances with the Wolves on a pedestal when that romanticizes the Native Americans just as much. But we come to another, since we're talking about the widow, I do want to talk about one of my favorite, actually, yeah, one of my favorite parts in the movie. There's a moment where she's bringing some stuff in the house and carrying it, and he helps her, and she's like, Japanese men don't help, and he's like, don't worry, I'm not Japanese. And then he talks to her, and he actually apologizes for killing her husband. And again, with her expression, you could just see this huge weight just completely lifted off her shoulders. And she basically tells him, and she's finally able to let it go. And she's like, you did your duty, he did his. And she's like, I accept your apology. And she thanks him for apologizing. And it's just this really beautiful, poignant scene. One of the themes about this movie is healing from emotional damage.
Well, if I may, it's interesting because earlier we were talking about how Nathan Algren was learning how to speak Japanese at first. And then as Taka was sitting at the dinner table, you can just see that she was stewing. Like, okay, this man kills my husband. Now he's sitting at my dinner table. He's now wearing Japanese clothes. He's now sitting and playing with my children. He just said my name in Japanese. So now she actually goes to Katsumoto and now says she can't take this anymore. Like, get him out of my house. And Katsumoto says, you will do as you're told. And she then says, I want to end my life. And she then says, I want to end my life. He's like, you'll do as you're told. And then she's like, you see, she's like defeated at this point. And that's when she just walks away. And then Nathan Algren, he's like, he understands like she's emotionally broken at this point. He sees she has like no like where to go emotionally. So he says to Katsumoto, he's like she's been very kind to me. He's like, Katsumoto says she's honored to have my guests in her home. And then we go to this scene where, in my interpretation, this is how I interpret it. I like the way how you saw it, but this is the way how I interpret it as well. Is like she was baffled when he apologized, because usually when I guess she saw the samurai, they were proud when they would actually take, and they would defeat an enemy. She was actually baffled that someone was like apologizing, for doing it. And then after that, then she let the weight was actually off her shoulders. And then that's when they were actually able to then heal and then, move forward in a friendship in a way.
Oh, and Gojira, can I add on that?
Yeah.
Before he apologizes to her, I think she's getting, dinner ready, whatever. And she's struggling, getting that bucket or whatever it was. And he grabs it. And she says, "Oh no, Japanese men are not supposed to help women." Like he says, "Well, I'm not Japanese."
Yeah.
And she looks at him like, "Oh, right." So because those are not our customs. I mean, those are not their customs where a man helps a woman do all the stuff. Like, no, that's us the way we're brought up. Me, like I'm the same way. Like if I see a woman struggling, I'm gonna help her. Mm-hmm. So it's like. But she starts to understand, like, yeah, he's not, she has to start remembering he's not Japanese. He's was considered the enemy, but now they're learning about him. They're learning that he's not, what they presume the white man is. And what
I should also throw in between these parts here we're describing, we see a scene of him training with the samurai. And Ujio takes it upon him to be, I'm the one that's going to instruct him. And while he's still hitting him a little harder than he is the other samurai, like he's not doing it to the point where he's trying to hurt him.
Mm-hmm. And then one of my favorite scenes, I know we're saving this to the end, but I just have to say this scene right now. And I'm sorry if I'm stepping on anybody's toes, but I just got to talk about this scene. The Art of No Mind. Okay.
Yeah, you explain it.
You mind the people. You mind the sword. Too many mind. No mind. No mind. And then he starts to get it. He starts to fight a little better. He's not perfect. He fights a little better. And that's when he actually has a duel with a Ujio. Now,
And
everyone.
the other samurai are betting on how many moves he's going to win in.
Indeed. And it's fun, but also it actually gets to a point where, Algren's like, okay, what am I doing wrong? How do I keep fucking up? Okay, this guy can't be unbeatable. Okay, he's a master swordsman. Okay, the only person in the actual, village actually I think could beat him was actually Katsumoto at this point, because it actually shows a scene where Katsumoto's actually training. He's taking on 3 guys at once, and he's wiping the floor with them. So I think the only one who can actually beat him is Katsumoto at this point. But Algren's like, okay, and you see in his face, he's like, no mind, and he actually plays it in his head, and he actually, plays a scenario.
Pattern.
Yes, he sees a pattern. And he actually plays it. He's like, okay, if I do it this, and, I just like flow with it. And actually, he gets to a point where it's actually a draw. He doesn't beat him; it's a draw. So it's like no one's ever had a draw with Ujo, and he immediately gains his respect. It's a beautiful scene.
You can see, like, in Ujio's face, you can see how proud of him he is.
Mm-hmm. So yeah, he's actually embracing, another way of life, which is another theme of this. It's another people really should, sit down and, respect about, films like this. You gotta accept other ways of life and other things, other ways people can, teach you as well. Not just your way, but other ways as well. Which is another way, one of the biggest songs of this is A Way of Life, pretty much. So, but okay, just wanted to talk about.
No,
good,
that's
good. I'm glad you brought that one up.
it's
better than I was going to.
Yeah, like it's a great scene where there's patterns, and what he's been training, how he's been training there, he's starting to pick up the pattern of certain ways, like how to block, and then how to parry, how to duck, how to use footwork, because that's really what that is. It's footwork, repetition, footwork, and drills.
And it should also be added in this scene where the previous training scene, Yu-Gi-Oh was still hitting him harder than he would the samurai, but not hard enough to hurt him. In this scene, he's not hitting him any harder than he is the others.
Yeah, and that's what I'm saying. Like it's like he is. See this is one thing I know. It's like, it was 2003, but here's one thing I did learn when I went to Japan: show respect in their custom, in their ways, in their culture, and they will show you respect. They'll open up. And with him, it's like he's embracing the way of the sword, the katana. Like he's learning about it. So, and you see him as he's learning and going through the villages and playing with the kids, and all the girls are all laughing and giggling, and and he's like, just doing, just being, he's at it looks like he's for once at peace.
And he's pretty much a part of the village at this point.
Yeah, like he feels like, man, why would I want to? It's like he's looking to, why the fuck would I want to go back to the United States? It's like, why, when he can be there, not known, and he could be peaceful. Like, this is one thing I'm gonna say for myself. Of course, I have to have my friends. I have to have my crew, you guys, my family, and everything. But what I wouldn't do for at least 2 or 3 months out there, like in a village like that, just in a very secluded place, and just live like
there.
Yeah, just spend the winter there, and just learn about, like, meditation, learn about concentrating on one thing, and learning how to either make swords, or how to do embroidery, how to make bamboo baskets, or how to make bokkins, how to sharpen swords, how to use a sword. Like, that's what I would love to do, just to be out there secluded, of course, in a village type of aspect, like in a setting, but like very limited people, but like still be able to interact with people, but learn about that culture more, like get deeper into that culture, connecting to it more. Okay, sorry. There was my Zen moment.
that was really good.
You know what I mean? That's what I like to do. Okay, okay. Continue, Anthony.
All right, but we just that's what's the beauty of this segment of the film. It's him finding peace and just learning and accepting a new way of life, and for the first time ever, probably finding fulfillment. And even now, like him and Katsumoto, you can tell it's just evolved into just this actual true friendship.
Yeah, yeah,
But
oh, go ahead. I'm sorry.
you go on.
No, I was just gonna say, Katsumoto he's kind of like a. I don't know if you guys saw, but he's kind of like a poet too.
Mhm.
Yeah, he's even working on a poem.
Yeah, like yeah, and he has that not charm. He just has that. Now Algren's starting to understand why people respect him, why people gravitate to him, why his people in his son's village, like, respect him, because he's not about himself. He's about learning. He's always in the monastery praying. He's You don't see him drinking sake. You don't see him just when that time when the just when we get to that time where they're ambushed. But like he's always serious about what he does. He's about keeping his mind clear, and just like he said, you know, the emperor. Why don't you go back? Why don't you just do it? It's like the emperor wants you. Now, when Captain Ogre says the emperor wants you dead, he's like, if he really wants me dead, all he has to do is ask. Like that. That's how devoted he is to his pupil, to the current emperor.
Mhm.
So I'll just leave it at that. But
He almost has a fatherly love for the emperor.
Yes.
yeah, exactly. Well, okay, sorry about that, man. Go ahead. I didn't mean
No,
to cut you.
that was very good.
Yeah.
But this is all through the winter, and like sadly, the winter does come to an end. And before that, I'll let Gojira take this, but we have an attack on the village by ninja.
Shinobi.
Yes.
Go ahead, Gojira.
Okay, so they're having a celebration, and I don't know what I want to call it, a play, but let's call it a celebration. I forget
I'll
what
tell
the
you.
I can't
Let me
remember
just.
what's that. Go
I'm
ahead.
sorry. I'm sorry. I just got to say this. It's Kabuki Theater.
Kabuki, thank you. Kabuki Theater. Thank you. I couldn't think of the name of it right now, but yes, thank you. They're having Kabuki Theater.
Yep.
And the guest of honor was Katsumoto, because he is the leader of the village. Even though it is his son's village, he's still he's still the guy of honor, pretty much. So he was the guy. So he's on stage when all of a sudden a group of shinobi ninja arrive, which it's questionable, these ninja, but whatever. I don't care. Just go with it at this point. Okay, these ninja arrive and they cause a ruckus, and they're there to assassinate Katsumoto. Now, as they're getting in position, they're starting to get their weapons ready, and they're actually to assassinate Katsumoto, but they send a healthy amount of them, so they're actually there to just wipe out the village. But before they can, assassinate Katsumoto, Nathan Algren, he sees them, and he actually yells to Katsumoto right before they could assassinate him. And they actually get the drop on them, and a big battle takes place inside of the village. Sword fighting, Kusarigama is being used, bear claws being used, the samurai actually able to, fight them off. And that's when Katsumoto sees, wow, I've really made an ally of this man. You were once my enemy, and you are actually my ally. And actually, we see that Taka's family has actually, accepted Algren as, part of the family as well, because they actually, defend him as he defends them, from these attacking ninja as well. So as they wrap up everything, Ujo, he's going fucking nuts with his sword, outside. He's one of the best characters in the movie, by the way, just ripping people apart. He makes a great Scorpion, by the way. I don't care what anybody says. But anyway, we move forward. It's the next morning as Algren, he actually goes to the monastery, and we have a full cherry blossom. And as you guys are saying, yes, absolutely beautiful.
And that I've seen cherry blossoms in the flesh. I'm sorry. It just brought back so many beautiful memories, man. When I saw the cherry blossoms in blooming, dude, it was like, oh yes. So like I saw them in the flesh. Okay, sorry.
That's a paddling. That is such a paddling, dude. You're getting a paddling for that, okay? Yeah. That's a paddling. Yeah, I'm gonna find a boat oar and give you a paddling for that, okay? You just had to. I knew that was coming at least once this stream, okay? You're getting paddling. Anyway,
I didn't see this coming.
Anyway, because we're talking about Last Samurai in Japan, you're gonna bring it at least once. I knew it. Okay, all right. So Algren approaches Katsumoto, and they're speaking, and we actually see a more heartful moment of Katsumoto. He's actually very more remorseful about this whole situation. Says that a perfect blossom is a rare thing. A man can spend his entire life and never find one. It would not be a wasted life. You see, that's a poem right there. Your cut print. They're done.
And
you know what?
Practically describe this movie with that quote.
And you know what? I saw them. I touched them. I saw them. So yes. I'm saying this like I'm saying this like purely out of joy that it makes sense now, like what he said, that is it rare anybody can see a perfect cherry blossom, and I saw so many perfect cherry blossoms.
You know what? So I'm going to give you that. I'm going to give you that. Yeah, you're absolutely right. I'm going to give you that.
I can kind of relate, even though it's not the same tree, seeing a perfect dogwood flower.
Okay.
Yeah, like anything. Like it's like he's saying that at a cherry blossom. If it was a different one, say if there are different flowers, he would say this. He would say the same thing about that. But I think it's like the poem. It's what he's saying. It's a quote that I took seriously, because when he said that, I was like, wow, like I saw one in person, and I touched them. I saw them on the ground. I grabbed one. And I saw them, and yes, they are pink and white. They're more pink on the outside and they're white in the inside. And like, thank you, Matt, for re-mentioning that, dude, because like it just like it reminds me that for once for a long time I thought I wasted so many years of my life, but now that I realized that I made it to the land of the rising sun and actually saw them in person and saw them on the floor and touched them, it's not a wasted life. Thank you, bro. Sorry, I got a little emotional there. My bad.
Dude, this is an emotional movie. This is an emotional movie. Yeah, I love it.
It's impossible not to watch this movie and not tear up at some point.
Exactly.
No, I mean, well, not emotional is like that, but I mean it like I have this. I feel proud.
Good.
That like, I mean, to the reference of what he said out of the movie, because it's like Anthony said, that he pretty much summed it up about good things about what he's doing in that small little saying that he told Augur when winter faded and the cherry blossoms came out, when spring finally landed.
Mm-hmm.
Also, he gives him back the pouch, and when I took these, you were my enemy. Now you're my friend.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. Sorry, Gojira. I didn't mean to interrupt, man.
No, you're good. No. So they make their way back to Tokyo, and then we see something very ugly, where we saw a very beautiful city at the beginning of the film. Where, okay, beautiful is subjective, but it was like for the olden times, the way how it looked, back then, compared to what it looked like now, where everything is now overgrown, and now they have a bunch of light poles and everything. They have a bunch of electrical wires going across everywhere. Which again, I will say again, the way how it's presented, it looks like a painting and it looks beautiful, but also it looks very gaudy and very ugly the way how it's done as well.
Yeah.
The entire movie was beautiful. Yes, it's very beautiful.
Welcome.
Yes, it is. It is beautiful, but also you see how the ugly side. This is what Omura is actually doing, and it's actually unchecked the way how it is. It almost like kind of makes the country, and you actually hear the music actually has like a really really big bass to it when this scene starts. It's like when they roll up. It's like it's like the city's starting to look weird, and then you see the other people are there. They're wearing more modern clothing, and then when the samurai, everyone's saying, "Oh no, the samurai are here!" And it's like, oh, so now they're all
feels like a different character now.
Yes, and there are geisha, walking through the city, but they feel like they're out of place. It's like the entire world is changing. Japan is changing and being modernized into something that it wasn't, which is a theme of this film. It's like, and what the samurai are fighting against.
Actually, you know what? Sorry, brother. I was gonna say I don't think they're geisha. Just what I think. I don't think they're geisha. I think those are courtesans.
Courtesans.
Courtesans. They're the ones that attract the men to go into their brothels.
Oh.
Okay.
Courtesans. Okay. Yeah. Geishas wouldn't be out. Geishas pretty much wouldn't be out in the sun and stuff like that, bro. They usually stay in. Because geishas were revered, so it's like
information.
Yeah, courtesans were the ones where courtesans run. They're like mistresses. So the courtesans are the ones that they get clientele and attract men to go into their brothels or they're pretty much their parlors and stuff like that, and they have men drink sake and they talk and they serve them food and then those are courtesans. Courtesans are the women that are highly recommended and highly like sought after. So and it's money though, expensive, but it's money. So that's probably that's what it is, because it is remember the Meiji restoration, and then like you said, the light poles. There's more lights. There's more people. It's more crowded. So yeah, but those are probably courtesans. But I just wanted to throw that out there. Sorry, man. Didn't mean to interrupt.
Well, thanks for that heads up. Yeah, I didn't even think of it like that. But yeah, that's interesting. That's interesting. Yeah, thanks for that. Thanks for that. Clarification. Yeah, I didn't even think of it like that. Because why would a geisha? Because they were like the performers. During like not during like like a stage performance, but like they were like revered, like the film Memoirs of a Geisha. They were like revered, people, highly sought after. Yeah, why would they be walking right down the street or something? That doesn't make any sense when I say it out loud. But anyway, so now Algren actually meets back up with Colonel Bagley, and he sees that the Japanese military has actually. Now they're actually battle hardened, and now they have Gatling guns, they have cannons, they actually have correct officers now, and everything is ready. And they've been training the entire winter now because they have learned from their actual defeat of that previous battle from earlier in the film, and they're going to, be ready for whatever comes next. And you can just see the look of the despair on Algren's face, like, oh shit. Okay, they're not going to be able to stand up to this. There's probably like a few hundred samurai, and this comes for them. They're not going to be able to do anything. So hopefully, things go, differently. So Tatsumoto actually, meets up with the emperor, and he's wearing, a very fancy dress. Not dress, but he's dressed,
fancy dress clothing.
Yes, as the emperor, and he's pleading with them, I did this for you, and as the emperor is like, oh, why did you turn on me, pretty much? And eventually they come to an understanding, and the Katsumoto is going to rejoin the council, pretty much, of his advisors, which is actually not really, but Katsumoto is really the only one besides Omura, the only one who actually allowed to lay eyes on the Emperor, except for anyone he allows to. They actually, later in the scenes going forward, we see how brutal the Japanese military and the Japanese now are actually treating the samurai when Katsumoto's son is actually standing in the middle of the street and actually is at gunpoint, being told to remove his swords. There's actual laws against carrying swords now. Yes. So he would not remove his swords as Algren tries to stand up for him. But they refuse to acknowledge him as their captain either, because he'd been in captivity this entire time, I guess. They just refuse to acknowledge him. So they actually remove his swords from him and then cut off his top knot, which in Japanese, samurai, that's actually a huge piece of honor and a piece of status as well, is your top knot.
Right, hold on.
Well,
I want to add something else that I love about this scene. When you watch it, he's actually prepared to die right then and there, but once Nathan Algren gets involved and they even point the guns at him, that's when he relents it, because he's like, I'm prepared to die for this, but I'm not going to get a man I consider a friend killed over this either. So it's like, I'm going to surrender and I'm going to suffer this indignity for a friend, which is very beautiful in its own way when you think about it.
And they also, but then, if I may just real quick, I'm sorry. Go ahead, Sentry. What were you gonna say?
No. I'm saying I agree with what Anthony's saying. Like he was willing to die. Like he said, "Oh, you're not taking my swords. If you're gonna take my swords, and you're gonna cut off your top knot, well, try it." And that's when he pulls up his he sheaths one half sheaths one of the swords, one of the katanas, and then that's when Algren's like, "No, don't." And then and then when he's getting it chopped off, like you can see like just how much pride, like that's a huge sign of disrespect by someone chopping off a top knot of a samurai. And he was literally yelling Yamaroi or Yamara, Yamaroi or Yamara means stop, but that's what it means, Yamara. That's what he screams. And like it's painful to watch it, even Captain Algren's like, man, like he knows how much that means to a samurai.
And it's another scene where the music just elevates it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but okay, go ahead, Gojira. Sorry.
But also, this actually is a callback to an earlier scene in the film as well, as Algren was actually speaking to Mr. Graham when about battle tactics of the samurai, and then Mr. Graham said, "Oh, I always want to know about scalping. What is it about scalping? Why do the red men always want to do scalping?" I'm using his terminology. Okay, let's calm down. That's what. Let's just go ahead. And that's when Captain Algren actually, told him how the scalping was done. To later in the film, the Japanese soldiers actually took out their bayonet, which aren't really razor sharp. They have really good points on them, for stabbing, but for slashing and, for cutting, unless you take really good care of them, they're not really the sharpest knives.
This was made for slicing. A bayonet was made to rip and tear.
Yes, yeah, so to take a bayonet and then actually cut someone's hair off with a bayonet, that's already difficult for a regular knife or a pair of scissors. Now for a dull knife, and then it's more of a ripping thing. It's almost a very odd. It's almost an eerie callback to earlier in the film. It's like you just feel it as the music swells, and then when it's finally over, it's like you got chills going up your arms and your back. It's like, there you go, Mr. Graham. I don't even know. I can't. Yeah, he was there because when he comes out of the campgrounds, he was there. He got to see it firsthand then. Yeah, I just remembered that. Yeah, Mr. Graham was there. He actually got to see it wasn't a full scalping like they did, in other ways, but it was it's almost close enough. So,
But
okay.
it is. Well, shit. To a samurai, it pretty much probably feels like being scalped.
Mhm.
Yeah.
So yeah, but go ahead, continue.
Okay. So, as Omura is now with the council, under the emperor, now they're all wearing, Western clothing. They're wearing their generals' outfits. They're not wearing, Japanese clothing at all. I think like maybe like one other. Actually, no. They're all wearing like Japanese clothes. They're not wearing. They're like wearing modern clothing now. As Katsumoto enters the room, and he's wearing his classic Japanese clothing. Trying to embrace the traditions of the past, while wearing his katana and his wakizashi.
Yeah.
Now, there are laws against that, but he's a samurai and he was, the highest member of the shogunate. That's apparently not a thing anymore. And Omura is like, "Oh, how dare you bring those in?" And Katsumoto's like, "I've read every law carefully. But yet you bring those weapons in before our emperor? These swords have protected the emperor since before you were a thing. Oh, we don't need swords to protect. We have laws and everything." Just you can tell that he's being forcefully pushed out of something that's worked for so long.
Yeah.
Now, you can say in the past, yes, there's been corruption. There's always been corruption in all forms of government, in forms of power everywhere. But when you have Katsumoto, who is our protagonist of it, he and Captain Algren are two protagonists. And if I start talking over it, please, you guys can shut me down if I ever talk too much about this. But these are two protagonists of the film. Omura is our antagonist. You can clearly see that he's the bad guy pushing our protagonist out. And when Katsumoto has a katana, he actually has commission for the emperor. And when he doesn't even acknowledge Katsumoto, you can just see all of the hope and everything in his eyes just wash away. You see a lonely tear go down his eye, and you just feel like that defeat go over him as he's led out by soldiers. He takes one more look at the emperor and nothing. And he actually goes back to his home and actually awaits imprisonment or further
Punishment.
punishment, pretty much. Yeah.
And
I
it
was gonna
should
say too. Oh, sorry. I was gonna say this. I was just gonna say, Katsumoto. That's when Katsumoto finally realized that. I think when he saw the emperor just look down and not even acknowledge him, I think that's when Katsumoto finally realized that the days of the old, like the traditional days of old, were pretty much limited. They were numbered.
Yeah. And
Well-
it should be noted too, like, for those who aren't familiar with the customs and the ways of the samurai, how important the sword really was. They literally believed their soul resided within the sword. So it was to say you can't carry this around anymore. It's literally telling them you can't carry your soul around anymore. And these people, their whole, I know this is a romanticized depiction of it, but you got to keep in mind too, these people, being a samurai has been their identity their whole lives. Samurai has been their family's identities for centuries upon centuries, and now they're being told you're not needed anymore and just cast to the side.
Yeah, it's true. Like the sword is it's their status. Like the sword is their status, and as even a samurai, a lot of people, how hard it was for a commoner to become a samurai. Like you have to really do something, like really work at it to earn status as a samurai.
Practically
Well,
unheard of.
Well,
Yep.
you had to be mostly you had to be born into it. That was the main way to become a samurai. But for like another person, you had to do incredible feats to become a samurai. Like
Well,
you had to pass many great tests to become a samurai if you weren't born into it. Most were actually by blood, pretty much, to be samurai.
Well-
They had long lineages of family and service to be samurai.
I mean, yeah, you're right. And then there's also retainers.
Yes.
So yeah. Retainers are not samurai, but they're like soldiers under samurai.
Right.
So those like those that's why you call them retainers. Like people don't know what the retainers are. What are retainers? Like retainers are there's a house, the samurai house, and there's a few samurai, and then samurai have retainers.
Mm-hmm.
So retainers are just under them. Like pretty much they're kind of like samurai. They have a status, but they're not full
They're
samurai.
samurai adjacent.
Exactly. There you go. You see what I mean? Yeah, we know our shit. Come on,
From
dude.
what
Like
I
fucking
understand, the retainers, they were even expected to live by a very similar, if not the same code as the samurai.
Pretty much. Yeah.
yeah, and that's what I'm saying. But yeah, but go ahead, go ahead. I'm so sorry, Gojira. I keep interrupting you
Oh,
and Anthony.
no. We're here to talk about it. We're here to have fun and talk about this. We all love this movie. Please talk. Let's all talk and have fun. Yeah. This isn't a one guy talk. We all talk and have fun. Please, let's all talk and have fun.
We're all getting into this shit and laying out all our information that we know. I mean, we're not saying our information is totally perfect, but I mean,
Yeah.
it's like that's what I'm saying. We're all busting out with all kinds of stuff. Like everybody's putting in that info that we don't know. Like if I don't know something, Gojira knows something. If Gojira doesn't know, Anthony knows about it. Like that's we feeding off of each other. That's the best part.
This is why I wanted you two specifically for this discussion.
Yeah, it's the way of Bushido, bro. The way of the soul, the spirit of the warrior, the way of the warrior, Bushido.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but I was just gonna say, but on top of that, like what you were saying about the old customs were numbered. They were numbered until, like I said, when we get to that part. But like Kasamoto's finally getting, he's gonna get punished. They're gonna set him there. Like you could tell his soul was there, but not his soul to fight was still on. But he realized that the Tokyo or the Meiji Restoration, or how they were leaving after the Tokugawa shogunate and the restoration of the emperor coming to power, he started realizing like shit. Like I think the samurai's days might be numbered, and he wasn't giving in. But it's funny how the birthmark face goes in to his quarters, to Katsumoto's quarters, and says, looks like he's gonna do it, but he's like, nah. He's like, save us the trouble. And Katsumoto's like, really, dude? Like, hell no. If I'm not going out, if it's not here, if it's not there, it's battle. But he goes there, and then that's when Algren is talking with what's his face, Bagley, and he doesn't see
Graham under the guise of taking photos.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and he does not. What I liked about that is that Algren did not say one word to him. He just he got his pay, he got his money. He's like, this and that, and it's you could tell how much hatred Algren has for that guy.
Yeah, like the calligraphy the kid gave him, and the way that guy's just handling it very carelessly.
Yeah, like it's so, and then we get to that part where Katsumoto's going to be arrested, and he's like, what?
Whoa, you guys are jumping. You're jumping.
Okay, what are we missing? Okay, keep going. Okay, go back.
Okay, so right after Algren gets his severance pay, pretty much, from being in captivity, Omura actually tells Birthmark Face to actually keep an eye on him. If he goes anywhere near Katsumoto, kill him. So actually, he's in the streets, just walking around, and here comes Birthmark Face. I feel bad calling him that. What's this dude's name? Oh crap! The text is too small. Nakao. All right, so Nakao and a crew brother of hired mercenaries. Pretty much, these guys they make the same sounds as the shinobi from earlier. So you can tell that this guy actually was in charge of the assassination attempt. That's what this movie is implying, in my opinion, in this scene. So they actually come to kill Algren in the middle of the street. Now, he has no weapon. All three of them have swords. And Algren actually uses what he has learned, the art of no mind, and actually disarms all three of them, kills them, and then it comes down to Nakao, the final guy, and he says, "The day of the he's like the day of the samurai are over. We're gonna kill Katsumoto." Something stupid, and then Algren cuts his head off. A very smooth cut, which is actually the beautiful thing about the samurai sword. One cut, one kill. That's always the thing about the samurai sword. Beautiful piece of artwork. And it's always been told scientifically is the best martial arts weapon ever created. Now, it's debatable. I don't debate it. I think it is. But, I'm sure somebody out there would be like, oh, but this other weapon.
There's
No,
some channels that will just swear it's the European sword.
I love the European sword. I love European swords, but I say the katana is the best martial arts weapon ever created. Okay, I'll say the best sword ever made. Maybe I'm biased. Maybe I'm biased, but I'll say the best sword.
At least the most beautiful sword ever made.
Right.
Well, not only beautiful, it's the most balanced because it's not too heavy. It's not too heavy. It's not too light. It's more maneuverable. It's faster. A broadsword is heavier. A broadsword is not as sharp. And even if you sharpen it, like you really have to dig in and sharpen that bitch. But like a broadsword I like broadswords. I like great swords. I like maces. I like axes, double end axes, like all that. But like the katana, the katana to me is just it's the ultimate and the most reliable sword in the world that's ever created. Yes, I agree with.
It should be noted one of the secrets to the cutting power is actually the subtle curve it has.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and it's true, and that's why it's folded. Every time a katana is made, it's folded thousands and thousands of times. The ingot, where it comes in, they fold it, 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 and that's what gives it. That's what gives it that kind of the igara. I think it's the igara. It's the ihada. There you go. They say it's the I forgot what it was of the sword. But it's like the end, the cutting edge. That's what it is. Like the ihada.
How the folding would work. Say this was the ingot, they would hammer it, fold it, and basically hammer it back into its original shape, and that's one fold. Then they do it again. 2, then you have 4, 8 folds the next time. Then the next time you get 16 folds.
Yep, and they do it more, and they keep going and going and going, and it's like that's what I like about it. But yeah, but what getting to the part where whatever his name was, birthmark face, I like a lot. What I like about this too is that there's the way Algren was dual wielding. He was dual wielding 2 katanas, and it's already hard enough to wield one katana, but I mean dual wielding is that's a whole different monster.
It's something that it's just made to look good on camera more than actually practical.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. I think I would have liked it. Well, I mean, it was multiple, so I do for the sake of film to make it look cool, the rule of cool, like Gojira says, that is. But I would have rather he would have done the two-handed, katana style, like the real traditional katana style. But that's just me though.
Well, stay seated. We got the final battle to talk about. But anyway.
Yeah.
So Algren now realizes, there's treachery afoot. Omura is up to something because he knows that Birthmark Face is actually, his right-hand man. So he knows that there's going to be an attempt on Katsumoto, and he's not safe inside of captivity. He needs to break him out. So he has an idea. He's going to go with Mr. Graham, and he's going to spring him. So Mr. Graham, and his family of samurai, with Ujo, okay, his son and others are going to go and under disguise, as like cameramen. And actually, it's funny. Algren's actually the president of the United States. Oh yeah, shows up, and they're actually going to spring him from jail. Well, not really jail. It's more like a house they have him in.
House arrest, basically.
Yes, he's under house arrest. So they break in, and they start to get him out, and they realize that hey, he's not allowed to leave. And then a gunfight happens when actually his son actually pulls out the Yumi, which is actually a war bow, and actually they have other people with bows as well. As they start to get away, you hear one last shot, and you hear his son yelp in pain, and you see the horrified look in Katsumoto's eyes. He's like, "That was my son." And I'm refraining from saying his name because I feel like I'm butchering it, but I'm gonna call him Nobu. I'm just gonna call that for short because if I say the full name, I feel like I'm butchering it. But then Katsumoto turns his head. He turns his head and sees that he's actually down and he's actually hurt real bad. And then he's screaming. He's screaming to him. But then Yujo, he grabs. He's like, "My lord, no, you can't go," because he's like the face. He's like in charge of it. He's like their lord. And he wants to go back to his son, but he's being held back. He's like screaming to his son. That's when Algren actually, he saves Nobu and brings him to Katsumoto. And he holds him in his arms. And Nobu's like, just let me die on my feet, pretty much. That's just to summarize. Katsumoto lifts him to his feet as Nobu has his Yumi in his hands. He fires a couple shots, pulls his swords, roars in defiance, and then gets gunned down, unfortunately, as our samurai heroes ride away into the night. And bittersweet escape for Katsumoto and team, pretty much. So, as they lament over a campfire of what's going on with the future events.
So you talk about the campfire scene.
So they're around the campfire, and Katsumoto is actually saying to himself, he's actually very melancholy at this point. I had a conversation with Sentry last night about this, and he's like, he was always a beacon of strength for the other samurai in the group. There, and it's like a tribe that they have. They're not really looked at as tribes in a samurai culture. They're more like families. But and this family that Katsumoto has, you can actually see he's like kind of beaten at this point. Nobu has just died. The emperor has sided with Omura. And, he's poisoned. He knows he's poisoned, but he has sided with him at this point. So he has his katana next to his head, and he's like stroking the wrappings, and he knows that there's essentially no hope. When Algren is just speaking to him, like, hey, there's got to be a hope to something like this. They eventually, they pack up and they go back to their village back in the mountains. They're going to hold up. When eventually the Japanese army comes with their new Gatling guns and cannons. So I keep going.
I'm going to let Sci-Fi take it from here with the battle prep and whatnot.
Okay.
Yeah, the battle prepping, they're making small barricades out of trees, making wooden shields out of trees. They start mass producing swords, and they not mass producing. They're probably some that were already in stock or like stockpiles.
They're just doing some like mass maintenance on the swords.
Yeah, and then they're greasing stuff so they can use to to ignite fires and stuff like that, straw. And then there's a part where we forgot to miss a part where Algren is literally talking with the son of Taka, who's
scene.
Yeah, who's taken a liking to him, and he gets sad that Algren has to go and fight. And then Algren goes and goes out to talk to him and says, "You're gonna fight." So I'm always afraid. Everyone's always afraid. I don't care who you are. Anyone's afraid. And that's when he goes and he hugs him. I forgot his name. And he hugs him, and that's when one of the samurai goes and says, "Algren-san," and it said they're coming. And that's when he talks with Taka, and Taka looks at him and says, "Come here, and I need you to do this. I need you to come here." And that's when she puts on the armor for him.
Yeah, and at this point, she's like clearly fallen in love with him.
Yeah, and then now we get to the prep, and here's another part where he finally puts the armor on. He comes out in the armor, and this is where Yu-Gi-Oh comes out, and you
I,
know, yeah, take that part, take that part.
I love this part here because if you remember, before he beat him almost to within an inch of his life for picking up one of the wooden swords. And now he sees him in the samurai armor, and he's not even mad. He just goes up, inspects him in the armor, and just nods, and you don't need any words between that. Like, they have the utmost respect for each other, and that nod was just, you look good. Look, that was just such a beautiful payoff to the relationship between those two characters, from that brutal beatdown to, like, if Yu-Gi-Oh had seen him in that armor earlier in the film when we got the beatdown, he would have just killed him on the spot.
Yeah.
But now it's like, no, you look good and you deserve to wear that, and I'm proud you're going to be fighting by my side in this battle.
Yeah, and I forgot to mention what was inscribed, what was inscribed on the sword when it was given to. I don't know if it was given to.
Matsumoto gives Algren a sword with Japanese writing inscribed on it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but I forgot what he said. What it said.
I belong to the warrior whom the ways of the old have become one with the ways of the new.
Oh, okay, yeah, that's a good one. And yeah, so we, like I said, we get to barricades, shields, wooden shields, stuff like that, straw, and then they lure them in. They take out a bunch of the freaking regular what do you call it, Imperial Army, and then they're taking out a good number. Then they're lighting shit up, fires, bows on fire, everything, bows and arrows, exactly, bows and arrows.
Carefully, I've teased you about this one last night.
Oh, no way.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, did I call it?
Yeah.
Yeah, you did.
I called it.
You're Yu-Gi-Oh.
I'm Yu-Gi-Oh?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I'll take it.
I figured you'd appreciate that one.
I do appreciate. Thank you.
Yeah. The one in the middle. Yeah, you called it, Gojira.
Yep. You're Katsumoto. I told you. You're Katsumoto.
Yeah, it's probably because I'm bald.
No.
But now
I'm screen capping that. I'm screen capping the shit out of that.
Yeah, hold on. Let me do that too. But no. Yeah, but no, dude. Yeah, like they're pretty much taking. They're doing damage. Oh, and remember, there's a reference to the battle of Thermopylae. That's what I liked about it. Yeah, there was a reference to the Battle of Thermopylae, and then now they've lured them in. They've taken out a bunch of them, but then they're losing so many samurais, so now they know they're outnumbered, and that's when Algren says, you know what, they still have 2 more regiments, man, and we're not gonna last. And then that's when Kasimoto says, well, let's just go to him. He's like, really? Like, yeah, because they know. Even Algren's like, even Aldrin thinks he's gonna die, so they're ready. Like the samurai, they're ready. Like, they rather die than than serve these motherfuckers, than go back on what they. In other words, they rather die for what they believe in.
Also, before this part, like, it was particularly sad when we seen Bob take a bullet for Nathan.
Yep.
Yes.
The one thing he said the entire movie, that Algren's son, and then he gets in the way of the bullet.
Yep.
Was that the only line he said the entire movie?
That's the only line. That's the only line he says.
Yep.
Yep. And that's what they call him, the speechless samurai.
No, he's Bob. He's Bob to me. Yeah. I'm sorry. Nope, he's Bob. Nope.
But yeah, he's Bob. But no, but yeah. So they're heading. I'll give it to you from there, Anthony.
But so we basically have, like, they know they're defeated at this point, and we got to keep in mind this battle. It wasn't about winning; it was just about making their voice is heard, which I do think is a very beautiful message that sometimes you have to fight even if you're not going to win. If you make your voice heard, if you make your point known, it's worth it. It's about being willing to risk everything for that thing you believe in. And Tom Cruise just suggests like they've all been shot at this point, and he's like, let's just ride out and meet them. So we get the final charge of the samurai with them rushing towards the Gatling guns, and it kind of did the reverse, where in movies you at least need to subconsciously believe the hero isn't going to succeed. The soldiers are panicking and not feeding the Gatling gun magazine right, and it gives you that moment where you almost want to believe they're going to succeed. And about the time you feel that glimmer of hope with the music playing with the theme, it just sounds like it's weeping, and they finally click the magazine and just crank the Gatling guns and take the samurai down in such a brutal fashion.
Every single time I see this movie, I'm always like, no, they're going to get through this time. No, they're going to get through this time. And it's like,
you want to believe.
Yes, they're going to get through this time. Look how close they are. It's like, oh no, oh. And it actually, you just start to hear the gunfire. You just hear the dun, 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 dun. And as it's firing, eventually you don't hear the firing. All you hear is just the music, and then all you see is the carnage from what the Gatling guns did. That's essentially the new world really paving its way over the old world. That's what's really happening here, and it's just terrifying. It's heartbreaking. It just, and then the music, how it's done, is just I used to have a soundtrack to this. I can't remember where the CD went, but it's
go ahead.
So melancholy. This entire scene, and then just all right. I don't want to take Anthony. Please take it away. I don't want to take it. I'm not taking this from you.
Even the Japanese soldiers are just deeply bothered by this, and we get the final interaction between Katsumoto and Nathan Algren, and Katsumoto grabs his blade and Algren goes to stop him, and he's like, please, you have found your honor, let me die with mine. And at this point he's definitely taken a vital wound because he's so weak he can't even stab himself with the Tonto, so Nathan has to help it for him, and like right before he stabs him, and it's the most heartbreaking line in the movie, I will miss our conversations. And he plunges the dagger into him, and as the protocol there, tip on a perfect setting, there would have been someone there to cut his head off so his body doesn't hit the ground before he dies. But because there was no one there, Nathan holds him up personally until he dies, then he can hit the ground. And the Imperial Japanese Army watching this, they're just all so moved. They bow down in mass, and I should also add the guy Tom Cruise didn't like earlier. He did get him throwing that sword right through him, and the most satisfying kill in the movie.
Yeah, Colonel Bagley.
But we get the next scene where the Emperor's about ready to finalize the purchase, and Nathan walks in again with the sword that Katsumoto wanted to give to the Emperor. And they have just this beautiful back and forth, and the Emperor at this point, where he's always been portrayed as weak, we finally see strength in him, and he's like, I've dreamed of a unified Japan. We've gained all these modern advances, but we've forgotten where we came from. And he's like, we don't need these weapons. We don't need these purchases. They're not right for Japan, which offends the delegates. And even Hamura is like, but I've done this to serve you. I've done this for the people. And he goes, then if you've done this for the people, you won't mind if your assets are seized and given to them. And Hamura's still objecting. And all he does without word, he just holds the sword out like this. In Hamura, you could tell he's just completely defeated. He just backs down. His stranglehold over the Emperor is broken. And another one of the most beautiful moments in the movie, he asks Algren, he goes, you were with him at the end? He goes, tell me how he died. And he just looks up at him and goes, I will tell you how he lived.
Yeah.
Which was just such a beautiful moment, because you can't tell how a man like Katsumoto died without telling how he lived.
Mm-hmm.
And
Yep.
the final shot is Algren just returning to the village. He finally found his peace in life. He lost a lot along that way, but he's got his own little quiet corner of the world, and he's gonna spend the rest of his days there in peace.
And what I wouldn't do to have my little corner of the world with a beautiful Japanese lady. What I wouldn't do for what I'd do for something like that, man. Like
When you were gone, I said this, but I said she's still one of the most beautiful actresses I've ever seen.
oh yeah, she still is. But no, man, great. It goes to the credits and great film, man. Like yeah, everything about this movie, regardless of all the when we get talking about all the bullshit that people are saying about it, and the controversies, and and the what do you call it, the criticisms of it, like it's still a great film. It's a film, man. It's not all films, even films that are historically trying to be historically accurate, aren't always accurate. So
Something wrong.
yeah, like
Speaking of that, Matt, you did say you had a little rant you wanted to go on.
Yes. Okay. There's a misconception of this film, and I'm going to sell this shit right now to everyone who's watching and everyone wants to watch this stream afterwards. The term the title The Last Samurai does not refer to Captain Nathan Algren in this film. Okay? The Last Samurai is Katsumoto. There's a misconception in this world that thinks that Nathan Algren is the white savior and is a samurai in this, and thinking that he should be a Japanese guy. Why is a movie about him and he's a white guy? No, he's not. He's a participant in a larger story. That is what the point of this story is, okay? This is a tale that's been told a million times. It doesn't matter who the outsider is looking in, okay? In this case, yes, Captain Nathan Algren, played by Tom Cruise, a white man, yes, at this time. Yes, he is here. However, it can be played by anyone. You could have had anyone in this role, okay? Just like we had some blue people in Avatar. Just like in this other film, Last of the Mohicans. Dances with Wolves. We had that. Okay, I'm sure the story has been told a million times in the exact same way, okay? It doesn't matter, it just so happens that they did it this way. Okay, but this film is a beautiful film and stands on its own in its own way. It doesn't matter the casting of what it is. Now, I love Tom Cruise as an actor. Okay, I'm not talking about him as in real life. I don't know the man in real life. I don't want to know a lot of these people in real life. Okay, I try to, shut my brain off to what they're really like in real life. Okay, I don't care what they're like in real life anymore. Okay, I don't follow Hollywood people around. I don't care what celebrities are doing on their days off. Okay, I don't care about their McMansions they have in Hollywood or in Europe or whatever. Okay, I see the movies and I enjoy the movies. Last Samurai is one of my top 4 favorite films. Okay, this film is not about Nathan Algren, the character, being the last samurai. Katsumoto is.
Exactly.
he is one of the protagonists of this film. And you can actually make a stretch of this because Katsumoto was actually teaching Emperor Meiji of this film. You can actually say that he's actually the last samurai because he actually accepts the katana at the end of the film. You can say he's actually the last samurai, actually keeping the spirit of the samurai alive. Damn straight, Anthony Jordan. Damn straight. So, not trying to offend anyone, not really pointing fingers at certain Instagram or Facebook or YouTubers out there that are trying to mislabel this movie. I just want to just put things a little more context out there. Maybe they're trying to be funny. You're not funny. Okay.
Yeah.
This is the truth. And people are the one have said to me, they want to hear me talk about what grinds my gears. This shit grinds my gears. This shit has grinded my gears for a long time.
23 years now.
Yeah.
Yep.
Knock it off. All right, I'm done.
Before final thoughts, I asked each of you to pick one inspirational moment, and it's okay if there's overlap, but starting with sci-fi, give me a inspirational moment you take from this film.
Well, damn, there's so many, there's so many inspirational films, but one thing, like I said, when I saw this film back in 2003, I was a kid that thought he was invincible, didn't take shit from anybody, had an attitude, whatever. Now that I'm 45 and I've changed, I've been humbled, I still have my warrior spirit. I still maintain a shard of my warrior spirit. And but when probably the most motivational part for me was when he was really realizing how they are, when he was at the village, when he was a captive, how he started realizing how they are and how he started embracing, look, when he started finding peace and he started embracing the way of the samurai and finding his in other words, finding out what peace could be like. And then when he finally finds it at the end, I think that's the part when he's captive and he's learning about how their ways are, how their customs are, and what they do. I think that's, to me, the most inspirational.
Okay, Matt, you go.
He stole mine.
Oh shit!
Yeah. You done stole it, sci-fi. You done stole it from me. You
Go ahead and
bamboozled me.
put it in your own words. It's all right if the same.
Yeah, sorry.
Well,
Sorry.
dude, I mean that with respect and love. No, it's an incredible scene. I was gonna say the exact same thing. When he has a full clear mind and he sees how everyone is, everyone's always bowing and everyone's always being respectful to each other, and the way how the music is swelling and the sweeping shots of him when he's meditating, and just the way how Hans Zimmer's score is just uplifting everything, and how he's participating with everybody with doing the different sword drills and everything, and then when he actually learns the art of no mind, and then actually has his duel with Ujio as well, that was just amazing as well. There are a lot of scenes that stand like outstanding, like the battle sequences, yes, but also okay. I love the scene when he sees Katsumoto after the assassination attempt, and you see Katsumoto. He's not really shaken by it, but he understands what happened. He understands why it happened, but he's not really shaken by it. But he you can tell he's kind of plotted his next move. But he's still laying the pieces. And even though Algren's trying to figure out, he's trying to do the A, B, and C. Katsumoto has pretty much the entire chessboard already ready. He's getting ready to play himself pretty much, where Algren's already still setting up the pieces. I thought that was a really cool scene as well.
Yeah.
Good one. For me, I'm going to choose the scene where Ujio beats him down in the rain. Because as brutal as that is, there's just something inspirational about the fact that no matter how hard he gets hit, he just keeps getting back up. And the fact that it does even like almost unsettle Ujio to see this level of determination in someone that isn't a samurai, and as like brutal as that scene is, like it just makes me think that's life right there. You're gonna get hit hard, you're gonna get hit brutally, but you have the choice whether to stay down or get back up knowing it's gonna hurt.
Yeah. And no, that's a beautiful. See that one was also on my list, but like and that one was also on my list, but that's a great one, man, and it's true. Like see, and here's the thing too. I just want to say because I've been to Japan, and it was a dream of mine that I was able to do, but I did have very very deep second thoughts because of what I was going through at the time, what I'm still going through, and I was really hindered, doubting myself, like how am I going to be if I'm struggling here where here at home, how am I going to be when I'm over there? But I was just so glad that I went through with it, and I when I went to the shrine, when I went to the Kamaido Tenshin shrine, and I I felt that I had finally I went to the shrine, I was finally able to just take off that that samurai armor that was no longer a suitable, because my I saw my body as no longer a suitable vessel to hold on to that, and I had to let go of a lot of stress, a lot of mental. I took that mental armor off, and I was able to feel. I felt lighter. I felt more composed. I felt more at peace, and I was able to find peace while I went to that shrine. And I still have that small remnants of the warrior spirit with me, but I really felt like I left all of that armor there at the shrine where it belongs, because I felt my body is no longer a suitable vessel, and I needed to find a new path to be able to go through and maintain and find that inner strength to learn from what I go through, to understand from what I go through, and to keep moving forward, and to always have that warrior mentality. So I just wanted to say that, because when you go there, man, and you're at a shrine, and you feel like it's such a beautiful place. It's such a beautiful city, a beautiful country, and I just felt very very blessed and grateful that I was able to go.
Very beautifully said.
Oh, thank you, man. It's yeah, like I said, you get Gojira. The dream is alive, bro. Keep that dream alive.
I will. I will.
Okay, but before we close up, I want final thoughts on the movie, and we'll start with the Gojira.
Final thoughts. It's an epic tale. You know, absolutely love it. It's a tale that's told time and time again. You know, it's been adapted several times. I'm sure it's been done more times than I've given ideas for ideas, but examples of. Dance of the Wolves. Yes, okay, that's one. James Cameron's Avatar franchise, which I don't want to talk about that. But
It
yeah,
pains me that because of that, you can
yeah,
even put that this movie and Avatar can even be put in the same sentence.
yeah. But that being said, this film it has its own beauty. It's beautiful. It's greatly acted. It introduced me to a plethora of far more characters and actors for the future as well. It just 10 out of 10. The music, the fight sequences, also the blending of CGI that they had for and practical effects in this as well. all the arrows that they did, they added a lot of those in post as well to make the fight sequences and the battle sequences look a lot more chaotic than they were, which it was still a lot more safer. Also, they had a lot of safety regulations on set as well. There were zero horse problems in that. They had the ASPCA on set all the time, and they never had a problem with the horses on set with the Last Samurai. I watched the making of that film, and I watched a lot of the behind the scenes. They actually had very competent fight choreographers on set as well. Actually going over all the fight sequences to make sure everything looked good on camera. And actually, when things looked bad, he actually called them out, like, "Hey, why are you swinging over the guy? You're supposed to be swinging for his head. These are props, guys. You're not gonna, this isn't gonna do anything bad. Okay, you got to make this look better." They actually went into the authenticity of this movie. That's the thing. This movie feels very authentic. And I highly recommend it. From the action, the acting, the music, beginning to end. Last Samurai. Now, this is the original DVD copy of it. I watched it last night, and surprisingly, on the PlayStation 5 and on a modern television, it actually looks really good. Okay, actually, I was worried about any picture quality or any grouping or any framing or anything like that, or however that's worded nowadays. I'm not a tech guy, but no, it actually filled the screen. Actually looked really good. So this actually, if you want to buy this version, sure, but I'm sure there's other quality versions of it to purchase as well. So yeah, that's me. 10 out of 10. Buy it. Watch it. Stop what you're doing and watch it.
Yeah, we're talking to you, Professor.
Yeah.
Yep.
I'm talking to everybody. Watch this movie.
Well, Sci-Fi, your final thoughts?
10 out of 10, man. 10 out of 10. I'll just say this. I have a samurai tattooed on my back, and I try my best every day to live up to that artwork that I have on my back, to try to my best to overcome, to look forward, face whatever obstacles I have in my way, and just to like I said, and just keep that warrior mentality. And Gojira pretty much said everything. Like everything that was beautiful about the movie, man. Like it's such a epic film. Like there's no more I can say about it. It's a 10 out of 10 for me, man. It's a 10 out of 10.
Well, if I may, as a martial artist, how did you feel watching it as well? Because you were big into martial arts as well. How did you feel watching it? Did that get the blood flowing as well?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, of course. I mean it brings it has that. See, like as far as the martial arts, I mean they utilized more judo and maybe aikido, but like the kicks, the kicks pretty much were a form of, to me, like the first stages of what karate would be later in the future.
Mm-hmm.
And like I said, I've studied all of them. I've studied karate, taekwondo, Muay Thai, jiu-jitsu, boxing, wrestling. So it's like it's such a, as a martial artist, man, its roots are everything as far as Japan, like karate, swordsmanship with a katana, the nunchucks, the sais, what is it called? The one with the chain, with the one with the weight, and the kasugama.
Kusarigama.
Yeah, the kasarigama, like all of those, the ninja, they as they utilize the shinobi, it was great, man. Like it had, even though the shinobi aspect was very brief, but I'm glad that they brought it in, because I was thinking, shit, Ryu Hayabusa.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't know they got Ryu Hayabusa to this movie.
Yeah.
So, but as far as martial arts concerned, man, yeah, it has all those aspects, man. It just, but the beauty of it, the cultural impact, the cultural aspects, just beautiful, man.
All right, Anthony.
For
What do
me,
you
just
think?
up front, 10 out of 10. I can't give it anything less. Like, just the story that it's a tale about redemption and overcoming your demons, about how important the past really is and that we can't forget who we are and where we come from. Which, on a personal note, when I like look at our modern society now, like, I can't help but relate to Katsumoto more and more, because for all the advances, it also does, like, personally terrify me how we keep seeming to forget where we came from. But like,
Yeah.
just the way it depicts the samurai, and again, I know it's a romanticized view, but something about the samurai always resonated with me. But I don't have a samurai tattoo, but I have this, which that image would make a great tattoo, by the way.
Oh yeah.
But
Oh yeah. Of course.
it wasn't just the image, it was what this says that resonated with me. I choose to live by choice and not chance, to be motivated and not manipulated, to be useful and not used, to make changes, not excuses, to excel, not compete. I choose self esteem and not pity. I choose to listen to my inner voices, not to the random opinions of others.
Yep.
And it's something that, like, I got this, like, right on my bedroom wall. It's a good little motivational line, and it's something too that when I look at it, I do think of this movie. It's just this, it's more than just a movie, it's like a beautiful piece of art, like the scene where Katsumoto's talking about the perfect cherry blossom. You could almost apply that line to this movie. Like, even my first experience seeing it in the theater, I'm like, it's going to be a long time before I ever see anything this good in the theater again. But yeah, like, to me and clearly to you two, it's not just a favorite movie, but for the three of us, this movie clearly has like a deep personal meaning to us.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. Absolutely.
Indeed.
And before I'd like sign off, do you guys have any upcoming projects?
Sci-fi.
Okay.
Yeah, go for
Yeah.
sci-fi.
I'm still working. I'm still debating to win, and if I can get the the motivation to do the bear on probably either Consensus or Sci-Fi Society. I'm gonna try. I'm motivate myself to try to do it before the end of this month. But if anything, I'll let you guys know. That's the one I have to really get. That's the one I really have to get out of the way. And then so far, yeah, that's just it. And what in September, what me and Anthony, maybe Gojira might want to jump on, is with the Akira Kurosawa live stream movies that we're going to talk about. That's pretty much the only ones I can think of right now that's probably next coming up for me.
Matt?
Okay, I finally got the invoice for my X Plus Godzilla 1995 Rebirth figure. I've been anxiously waiting for that. I'm finally going to get it. So it means I'm going to be doing a review and unboxing, something I've been itching to do for quite some time. I have some other figures on pre-order / pre-buy, so I'm waiting for those to come in. That sounds like fun to do the Akira Kurosawa video. I'd like to do that. I just found out that I can find some of those pretty cheap on Blu-ray Criterion, so I can catch up really quickly. Towards the end of August, I guess we're in August right now. Wow, this year's going by fast. I'm going to be doing a live stream with one Elven Werewolf. We're going to be doing Ears of War. We're going to need to set that up at some point. So there's that. There's that. Other than that, don't know.
I forgot to mention. I know I just remembered. I know I already made a thumbnail, and I want to do before probably maybe before or after we do the bear. I want to do a live stream with us, and maybe see who else I can get on here for modern gaming, and talk about modern games as well as classical games, but like pretty much just say gaming, how modern gaming is now, and I want to talk about the games that that we enjoyed as far as being modernized, talk about some classics, but just to talk about how modern gaming is now. That's what I want to. That's probably one that I also want to do, but I'll keep everyone updated. But I totally remembered about that one.
Okay, that sounds cool. Okay, since you mentioned the Gears of War, this is unrelated, but I gotta throw it out there. How cool is that on the same day an Xbox exclusive is launching on PlayStation, PlayStation exclusive, and Helldivers 2 is launching on Xbox?
That is cool.
It's about damn time.
I was gonna say, this gentlemen, I thank you for joining me. This stream would not have been half of what it wouldn't even been 80% of what it was without the two of you and your input.
Oh.
So thank you for making this work. It's been a pleasure to have the two of you discussing this magnificent movie.
Well, it's been a pleasure being
Thank you,
here.
brother.
It's always a pleasure working with you two gentlemen, and it's always a pleasure to speak about this film. And it was an absolute highlight to speak about this and to be here. Thank you so much, gentlemen, both of you.
Yep.
But mostly to our gracious host and owner of this show, Anthony Jordan, but also to the Sci Fi Sentry, our Katsumoto right there. I called it. I'm so happy I called it.
No, but yeah, it's always thank you, man. But it's also to both of you guys. It's always a pleasure and a privilege, man, to always be a part of you're a part of these live streams and just about the Sci-Fi Society Collective as a whole, man. You guys, it's always an honor to collaborate with you guys.
That's
Right.
right.
And on that note, everyone watching, thank you. Don't forget to like, share, comment, subscribe, and we will all see you later on this or on other members of the Sci-Fi Society's various streams. As for me, I have my Montoberan production, my Gundam Wing retrospective going, and I will be on the entertainment headquarters for the Last Samurai discussion and the Into the Darkness franchise discussion for The Hills Have Eyes. But as I said, don't forget to like, share, comment, subscribe. Over and out.
Montober!